hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the What's New in AWS live stream presented by Enterprise Support. I hope everyone has had an amazing week, an amazing month, and also an amazing Christmas and New Year's break if you've had a chance to actually have one and put your feet up. Maya, I might welcome our presenters today, Tom and Simon.
Hello.
Hey, Simon.
Hey,
Hey,
how are you,
Tom.
Matt? Hi, Simon.
Very, very good. Did you guys manage to have a break?
Y-
Yeah, I did. I mean, you
Maybe
didn't see
Simon,
me
you
on the
go.
stream for 2 months. So,
Oh,
I had a
Yeah.
pretty long
What
break.
What did you get up to, Simon?
I was in Japan for almost a month, and then just, taking some time off for myself here, prepping myself for 2024.
Very
I
good, very
see.
good.
Do
And
you
how
miss the
about
time with
yourself?
us?
Uh, to be honest, not really. But
Oh,
I'm glad to be back.
that's sad. Yeah.
It's too much fun in Japan, I tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not been to Japan. It is the next place
Oh,
that I'm taking the family. I'm really excited. I really want to go.
Yeah,
yeah.
according to a news article I read yesterday, Japan is now the favorite tourist destination for Australians. So,
Yeah,
you've
Oh,
been
interesting.
left
I
behind
thought that would have
quite a
been
bit.
Bali. It would have been my first guess.
It overtook Bali. That's the news.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
interesting. Very, very good. And what about you, Tom? Did you
Me?
get a break? You were going
Yeah,
away, weren't you?
I did. Kind of like have 2 weeks break. I really need that and appreciate that. And we've been a Blue Mountain trip for 1 night and 2 night trip
Oh, nice.
to Canberra, which was good. Yeah. And
Oh,
I
very
I
good.
I did join the group to watch the firework in the New Year Eve in Canberra. Yeah, so
Oh,
good experience to us. Yeah,
What's
is it better than
Canberra
the one in Sydney?
fireworks like the Sydney one? Yeah, is it the same? Is it different?
I'm afraid that I'm not allowed to put a comments on that. Otherwise, may make the Canberra audience um, hate me. But it's not a large one. But it's still very entertaining and good to see people like play around. And at that time, very special is that the temperature was kind of like was a bit cold at the time, and it was good. Make me feel like a bit special, like cold, New
Christmas,
Year's Eve.
New
Yeah,
Year's.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Very, very good. Well, gents, we have an action-packed show today. I'm really looking forward to what you're both doing a demo, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
really excited to see that. I've got a couple of releases I wanted to just share and discuss with everyone around Cloud Shell and Amazon Connect. But Simon, did you want to kick us off? I'm really curious to see what you've got for us
Yeah,
today.
sure. Mario, can you bring my screen up, please? So, as technical account managers, we get asked random questions all the time, right? And you know, usually we don't like to admit this, but it is true. We just kind of Google the answer, go to some of the our internal wikis, and find that answer out. But with the launch of Amazon Q, a lot of those answers can actually be found with Q. And so, Tom, I know you've talked about Q last month, but I want to put this in a different lens, right? So,
Yeah.
this particular offering is part of the Q for Builders offering, but you can actually use this with our documentation here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you'll see when you go to any of our documentation page here, I have EC2. There's a little bubble here that says introducing Amazon Q, receive guidance and get troubleshooting tips. And so if you click on this, and you have to logged in, but you have to be logged in, by the way. If you click on this, and then this will show, hello, I'm Amazon Q, your generative AI assistant. So basically what this is we've trained Q on 17 years of AWS knowledge. We've looked at documentations, white papers, open source, like code and references, and then also best practices. So what I want to show you today is, as a customer, you might not necessarily be very technical, but you can still make use of Q because of how easy it is to use. Oops, sorry. Now, let me do this, and I'm sure you've been asked these questions quite a bit, Matt and Tom.
Mm-hmm.
So As a customer, I'm trying to optimize cost on my AWS environments. What are some of the common cost savings measures?
Hmm.
And so,
Simon,
yeah.
I do want to chime in a bit. I feel like sometimes I really loved reading our documentation because
Oh, you
those
do?
service related documentation are very helpful. Like
I
it's
don't.
very detailed, very structured manner, and like along with our best practices, like well architected on different pillar to show customer what's the area they may need to focus. But I do want to call out that sometimes there are too much detail and very deep. It's very
Yeah.
hard for me to scratch the surface. If I really need to burn, I'm burned to answer questions. From from our doc. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
let's see what
This is
how's the
worrying.
interaction there. Yeah.
Q is saying that he can't answer his questions, which is weird because I just tried this
Okay.
exact question 30 minutes ago. So I'll try something else. Let's just do this. What are some of the common cost savings measures on AWS? All right. Oh, there it is. Okay. So these are some of the best practices, and if you look at the answers from Q, and this is a bit of a long answer, but if you look at the answer from Q, you can actually see at the bottom some of the sources that it cited, and like you said, Tom, it basically distilled this into an answer for a particular question, and then it gives back the answer to you. So let's use the first one, right? Track and allocate costs for better understanding spending. Tools like Cost Explorer with cost allocation tags.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so let's do. I have tags defined, but oops, sorry, I can't type. My developers are not applying tags to instances. How do I enforce tagging? So this is a question that's probably also in the documentation, but it'll be in a few different places, right? So you can, we're familiar with AWS, but our customers and people that are using Q might not be. So there are multiple ways of enforcing tagging, but you don't really usually get it in the same place. So you can say, oh, well, in SCP, I can enforce tagging. In organization tagging policy, you can enforce tagging. You can put in an IAM policy. You can put in a CloudFormation hook, blah, 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 right? So I think this is really powerful because Q actually helped distill all of those into a precise answer for this.
Yeah.
And so here IAM policies here, AWS organization with tag policies that's here, with CloudFormation that's here, and I don't think this is necessarily always the right answer. Manually scanning your AWS environment for missing tags, but
Yeah.
that could be useful as well. So it's a
Yeah.
it's a valid answer, but not necessarily the best practice.
I do want to call out that potentially customer do usually consider AWS config to set up the compliance
Yes.
monitoring, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
That one's. I don't know if it's here. I mean, in config, you do have to write the Lambda functions to
Yeah.
actually pull out the tag. So I guess maybe this is similar. The fifth one. Yeah.
Simon, I'm curious. Can you just ask it if it can tell you the command to list all your S3 buckets? Is it that specific?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if
Because one of the releases I'm going to talk about in a few minutes is Cloud Shell.
yes.
And as you know, in Cloud Shell, it gives you command line access into your environment. So I'm just super curious if I can just paste the command it gives me.
+1.
S3 buckets.
The The moment of truth.
All right.
Oh, there you go. So it is going down to your and I'm just remembering too the was it Graham last month was showing us some of the features where the command line is now bringing in some smarts as well. So interesting.
Yeah. And I think this is pretty cool because you can actually just click this to copy
it,
and then just
Yeah.
paste it.
Yeah.
You know what you
And I want to like yell out a bit like last time when we were checking using Code Whisperer integration with Amazon Q. And there is a IDE extension supporting you to ask similar question like this. Likely they may be the same function, like feature or so to offer, like converting the word
Very
to
good.
a
Does Amazon
CRM.
Q, Simon, have access or visibility into resources?
It does for if you integrate it with your account. So right now, I haven't given it any permission, so it doesn't. But if you do, then it can. So for example, like in your example, you can actually integrate in your IDE, and then it can and then you can put like files like as a Java file, for example. That was the one used in our demo at reInvent, and then it can actually access those resources as well.
So could you? I'm just curious. Could you say how many EC2 instances do I have? Could it give you a number? Yeah, I'm just curious on the data set underpinning it.
EC2 instances do I have running? It's thinking. No, it
Awesome.
just
So it's
gives
just giving you the commands to get it
to
yourself. Awesome. Yep.
So again, this is in preview.
And
so,
actually, that's pretty cool. It's giving you the full command, including the word count in Linux, so you can do word count by line. So yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are different solutions as well. If you're using autoscaling group, you run this command, get the output. So one final comment before I hand it over to you both is that this is in preview. So we love your feedback. If you've been using Q, if you want to try it out, please do. And we want to be able to we think it's really useful already, but it could be even more useful. So give us the feedback. And in preview is free. So just log into your AWS account. Go to your documentation, go to your console, go to your IDE. You can definitely try out Q for Builder.
Awesome. Very nice. Thank you so much, Simon. I think you're dropping now, aren't you? You got something else you got another meeting to be at.
Yeah, unfortunately I do. But I thought this is really interesting. Really excited to share this.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the stream next month.
Yeah. See ya.
Thank you, Bill.
See you, Simon.
Cool.
Tom, I really want to see what you've got, but I've got to share a couple of releases before we do that.
Yeah,
There's a couple of really
let's
cool
do
ones
that.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
Amazon Connect.
let me. I see. Okay, let's start with Connect first. Okay.
Have you before I go into Connect, have you? It's been our customers have just been all over Connect in 2023. It's just been such a high growth service for us.
Yeah, indeed.
What experience do you have? Do you have many of your customers using it?
I do have some. Like I'm a technical account manager. I look after several enterprise support customers, and especially one of them are heavily using Connect as their call center services. Overall feedback were good. Sometimes they do appreciate that we keep releasing new features to help their use case, or our enterprise support to provide support to them. But I do want to call out that one thing is very interesting. I see a trend that they are a lot of customers are start thinking about adopting a Gen AI stuff on the with Connect services or call center use cases, which is very interesting. But I'd love to hear what you want to share with us today.
Yeah, well, I don't have any Gen AI use cases just yet for this release, but I definitely hear you, right? Like we're definitely seeing a lot of our customers innovate particularly around contact center. So when they're engaging with their customers, understanding what their customers are asking for, understanding customer sentiment, driving that with Amazon Connect through some of the Gen AI is definitely an area that we're going to see a lot of growth in.
Yeah.
For this release today is Amazon Connect now supports audio optimization for
Okay.
Citrix cloud desktops. So if you're not too familiar, a lot of organizations, a lot of large enterprises, give access to their customer service and phone contact center agents through obviously a cloud desktop, right? So something like a Citrix VDI, Citrix Virtual Desktop environment. With audio optimization now, what's happening behind the scenes is instead of that audio routing from the agent's desktop all the way through to where the Citrix VDI is hosted and then back to Amazon Connect, it's got a direct connection between the two, which is significantly reduces latency and call connection times.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and it's when you really dive into the data, it's fascinating, right? Because from a contact center perspective, latency is number one, right? How long
Indeed.
it takes for the calls to be received, to be routed, to then be actioned, and then to be given to an actual agent. Every millisecond adds up, and it can really turn into a poor customer experience if you haven't got everything lined up properly.
Yeah, totally agree. I have feedback from customers saying that due to the network problem, they have the like a voice latency, which like cause harm to their business. It's not an easy problem to solve, especially. And very often we work with them hand in hand to do troubleshoot. Yeah, great to
That's
learn
right.
about that new services. It certainly be very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If your organization is using Amazon Connect and you've got Citrix, or you're thinking about putting Amazon Connect through Citrix, this is definitely an enabler there.
Awesome. Great to learn
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
And last but not least, this one's a bit of a teaser. So Cloud Shell. If you haven't used Cloud Shell, right? Cloud Shell is a browser-based shell where you can manage, interact, and work with your AWS resources. So you go into your console, type in Cloud Shell. It'll literally bring you up what looks like a Linux command line, and it's completely ready to go with most of it, basically everything you might want to do inside your environment. So to give you an idea, you can go to Cloud Shell and you can type in that command that Simon just showed us before, AWS S3LS, which is going to list all your buckets, and you've already got all your access and visibility through IAM through to your resources.
One thing I do like Cloud Shell, like just personal experience before you're sharing what's the feature, and it's that Cloud Shell is so convenient that if I want to write some AWS CLI command or a particular command, I just need a temporary workspace. I just use Cloud Shell and then it just turn it up a section for me so that I can start using whatever I want to do, running query, running script, and on our service, on my on my account on AWS. Yeah, I love that one. Rather than set up a lot of AWS, I mean the local AWS credentials sometimes is very tedious and hard to manage.
100%. And sometimes you have it working and then you might not come back to your environment for a couple of weeks or a couple of months and some of your keys cycle and you just need to fix it up. But Cloud Shell takes care of all of that.
Cool.
So if you love Cloud Shell, you're going to love what I'm going to talk about now, which is we've now got Docker support inside Cloud Shell, which is super cool.
What does that mean?
So what it means is you're now able to deploy and manage Docker containers within Cloud Shell itself. So when would you want to use this? Why would you want to use it? Think about all of the applications and think about all the containers that can be deployed from inside Docker, right? So for example, you might write an application to upload files to an S3 bucket or whatever your application does, you can now do that and manage it inside your Cloud Shell. So you can run your tests, you can deploy your own local Docker instances to do. So it's giving you basically a deeper feature set within Cloud Shell to basically run whatever you need to run.
Okay, this part is very interesting.
Yeah, that's right. And if you got much, have you done much, Tom, with Docker specifically in containers? Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit. Like especially with SageMaker platform, like sometimes we need to build container image and running container on SageMaker. That's a kind. Very often I do that manner. And
Yep.
I do like previously, but I think that before this feature, one of the challenge with me is that I need a proper VM, such as EC2 instance or Cloud9 or Notebook Instant, like a instant types, so that I can test against my Docker run, or even like some kind of Docker toolkit. I need to run it. Like some toolkit are basically wrap it up by Docker,
Yep.
and they
Yeah, of
can be
course.
very useful for us to do troubleshooting for different reasons on different areas.
Yep.
And Cloud Shell doesn't have that. Sometimes it's just like I need to making me like turn on a instance, which is a bit like another work to me. Yeah.
Yep.
So this
Yeah,
is
just not so.
my
So
pain
yeah,
point.
Cloud Shell's become a lot more powerful with this new
Mm,
with Docker support now. So
yeah.
give
Interesting.
it a go.
I do want to try. Yeah. Interesting
Yeah,
one.
maybe it might remove your next use case to jump into a Cloud 9 or a
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Thank you. Thanks for sharing
Awesome.
that.
What do
Yeah.
you got for us, Tom?
Yeah, sure. We'll touch a little bit on the generative AI, but today's section, I want to take the opportunity to talk about our no-code, low-code workspace, SageMaker Canvas. And basically, in machine learning journey or so, very often you may hear that like some persona like data science or machine learning engineers, like even like, of course business as well, but like for this kind of roles, like they work together for a data science project or machine learning project, usually is non-trivial, like so many steps. However, the overall goal they are trying to do is to gain the insight from the data and then build a model, deploy and benefit business. That's just what we try to do. However, like I mentioned, those persona and the complexity of the technology, and it's non-trivial works for the whole team work together like that. And there may be some persona they really need help and in a fast manner. And with no-code local workspace SageMaker Canvas, we can help our customer to easily start building machine learning model on their data and gain insight, benefit business. Even like they can experiment on top of that, right? And
Yep.
apart on that, there were some sort of existing model offer that customer potentially can, you know, give it a go and try those models and see how they may work and benefit their business or to achieve their goal. Yeah, this is overall I want to share on this
That's
on
when
this
I
feature.
think low code or no code, Tom. I always
Yeah.
think about the generation of those insights moving
Mm,
right into the business function itself. So getting
mm,
it out of the IT, getting it out of the engineers, getting it out of the developers, and moving it into the business. Is
yeah.
that the right mindset for here with SageMaker Canvas?
Yeah, it's I would say you're right. Like deliver value. Deliver value. I see that both of them are kind of like the right mindset is like deliver value. And SageMaker Canvas potentially can speed up the velocity to deliver value, and it make it easier to build and to use. And especially we build this toolkit like based on persona like business analysis. They may not have much like IT skills, and they are so familiar with their like a domain, the data, and the toolkit will make their life easy
Yep.
to draw insight from there. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, nice.
So
Do you have an example for us today? Are we going to have a look at maybe
yeah.
a low
We
code example?
Yeah, I want to share a bit like how uh how the toolkit potentially make our customers' life easier regarding on like learn the data inside and use the toolkit to build model. And also I want to talk a little bit on like these toolkit also making generative AI much easier as well. Yeah. Now let me start from the first one.
Yep.
Um yeah, bear with me. I just clicking my screen, my share screen. Okay,
I can
so
see while you're just bringing that up too, Tom, that we've got a few questions and comments in the
oh
chat. So if anyone wants Tom to create any low code examples, feel
yeah,
free to put them on the spot, and we might be able to do that one live.
yeah, no problem. Let's do that. Yeah, the first example I want to show that we have a amazing feature named Data Wrangler to help our customer to do like a explore the data and digging insight from the data and potentially doing a job so-called feature engineering, like converting the raw data to be valuable to be input data on the model training part. It can be numeric value or so, but basically those process is one of the large proportion time spending process in any machine learning project. And with these features, for example, what we can do is using this, like as of today, we recently have a new feature, which is do tackling the data analysis with chat. Okay, this one I find that it can be very amazing and interesting. Now, basically, what I've shown here is that I have a housing I have a housing problem, and I create a float on data wrangler. And this flow means that basically tackling a data set, you may import the data set and then export the data set and may analyze the data set like step by step. This so-called flow, and of course, it support multiple data source, and it also support um, multiple data source to join together and different kind of integration for other data source. Now in this one, for example, when we create a flow, you have a function that you can go for chat to the data prep. And in this one, basically, it's kind of Gen AI enabled function here. You can ask the question to steal the data analysis or data explorations. Like for example, I have this housing data set. For example, you can see that there is, let's say that it's going to predict the house price. Bear with me, the median house price value as an overall. And there are some features on those houses or suburbs. As far as we can see here, there is like the locations and the
Gotcha.
housing
So
age.
just a typical data set associated with just real
Yeah,
estate. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Then put it simple, like for me, if I want to understand this data set, I would maybe I need some skill. Like in data scientists, for data scientists, they usually use a library toolkit to use statistic knowledge to analyze the data. And with uh, these chat driven style, basically you can ask question to explore the data. For example, I could you I can ask please generate a data quality analysis report. Like for example, I will ask it these questions. Like this part will just bring me up to speed to understand how's the data looks like or so. Let's see what he's gonna get back to us.
I'd like to see that house that's got 123 bedrooms, Tom.
Or yeah, that's kind of I think the data set is kind of on a group by. It's not like a particular.
Gotcha.
It's more like a supper, like yeah, something like that. Yeah, but like for example, when I putting a question, it will give me some sort of feedback, and after analyze the data set. For example, the feedback from here is talking about there are sorry um the there are some what are the how many features, what types of the features, and how many rows, and what's the proportions of those rows potentially have mixing values. Mixing value is kind of interesting problem to do with when we analyze data. And this one can be useful, and in a sense that you can easily generate report and start jumping on rather than doing the coding or scratch your head to check on the table of the data set or so. And the next up, what I do is clicking the overall analysis, and I can after generate that, I can hop onto that and view the detail. And this part is doing a bit of analysis on overall features, how they will look like, and and also diving deep into what are the potential problem on those data sets, such as duplicated and duplicate rows and anonymous values or so, and also like a feature summary to talk about those like nature of the data set. So this part is interesting. And on last but not least, I also want to call out that bear with me. I want to go back to here. This feature is released in December last year, and it also kind of combining with a flow mindset. Like what you can do is, if like you want to do a bit of data conversions, you can give instruction like I want to um, um, uh,
So could we? Is this the spot, Tom? And not to put you on the
yeah.
spot, but is this
Mm,
where you could say something like what suburb? What's the typical average
yeah.
bedroom house size of bedrooms for a a local suburb or a specific suburb? Is that where you're trying to do your data analysis in this spot and then turn that into?
Yeah, that's part of it. The
Okay.
toolkit can do that, but on top of that, like what I'm trying to show here is that in a data processing process, like sometimes we do data transformation, and this toolkit can do the job easily. For example, if I say that to generate to select like a record rows with total bedroom over like a let's say under 150, right? If I say so, it will it can try like it can generate the step.
Yep. I can see that question coming in too while that's just generating.
Okay,
Can we
yeah.
use RDS as a data source?
Okay, this is interesting question. I remember that we support external data connector. I need to do a quick check on that because I made very often I play this toolkit on the existing sample data set. I will jump off very quickly from here and check that part. And what I want, let me finish this one. When I after asking the question, it will generate this part for me. And this part is pretty much like doing a bit of query as far as you can see, right? um, for a particular, like a PySpark or Python language. Once we have that, we can actually add to the step. And once I add to the step, these the generated code can become one of the step on my process here. And these accumulated steps, you can drive it from here, or you can drive it manually from here. And finally, when you are happy with this step, we can run the float. And with running the flow, it will help us to convert the data, like the data source from the raw data from this one to a target format. Imagine in this use case that I only like a select rooms like less than 150, then my data set will be with those set of data rather than the overall data set. This is a
Gotcha.
easy example. And let's check it out on the data perspective. Like tabular data. I may do a follow-up on that. I remember we do support external data set though. Bear with me. Let me see whether I can quickly go through that. Like this is the supported data source. Redshift is kind of supported, right? And these, as far as you can see, like the database style are also supported. Like for a RDS potentially, if your DB kind of accessible with a connection URL, then potentially we can put it here and add the connection in so that you can pull data from there. But there are also consideration that you don't want to export your endpoint to internet. Then for that areas, I don't have answer now, but I need to check whether our services it can be on the endpoint. on a VPC environment
On a,
and
or a
like
private endpoint.
access it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
privately access it. Yeah,
Yeah, awesome.
cool.
Was there any parts of the workflow that you wanted to share, Tom, on the maybe on the tail end of the workflow? So I can see obviously you're here at
Mm,
more of the data
mm.
transform steps and phase. Is there something that you can show us around the SageMaker canvas towards the end of the workflows?
Yeah, workflow wise, like I mentioned earlier a bit, um, the purpose on this one is to analyze data and
Yeah,
convert data to a different format, let's say.
gotcha.
And
Yep.
like if we want to do that, what we can do here is that like I have that data source and I can create a job here. And with creating a job, what it can do, like let me see, at destination. Okay, now I need to add destination, for example. Let's see that I want to tailor the one. So from a whole flow for simplify the demo, what I'm trying to do here is that I will just select part of the data and output it into a S3 location, right? What I can do here is that I select the target bucket. Let's say the SageMaker one. It has to be the same region. I'm using US East one. So bear with me. SageMaker. Oh, let me do this one. US East one. Uh, SageMaker US East one. Let's say I just select this one and then add the destination. Okay, I don't need to use that one. And yeah, so once you're happy with the flow you created, then what we can do here is that like kick off create a job so that we can run through the job and get the the output result also. Now here you can choose like what options you want to choose per running the job or so, like usually one should do. And for me, I would just simply click it on, and I got this one. Basically, this is a it's backed by SageMaker processing job. Just imagine that it's a managed services to process the flow I created. And once this one's done, it will output the 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 data into these S3, let's say this bucket, and this is the local one, and we can go back to there. There will be like processing your ID or so mapping with the output, and so that we can see
Yeah,
the
gotcha.
output. Yeah, that is the ease of the data analysis and potentially use data wrangler for your data engineering in SageMaker Canvas. It can be useful for data analysis. All right,
Okay.
so maybe we still use another few minutes to talk about another feature I want to touch upon. This one is
Just
about
while
like
you bring that one up, Tom,
yeah.
there's a really good question that I'd like to know the answer to. If you do have it, is Canvas
Mm,
pay per compute or pay per second? What's the underlying billing model for
okay.
SageMaker Canvas?
Yeah. So SageMaker Canvas, like when you create a domain, and like the way we do is that when you have a user spin up SageMaker Canvas, underneath there will be infrastructure to back it up, like a instance or so. So for that one, we charge your usage on an hourly basis, like I on the time you use the services. For more detail, probably we can share the SageMaker Canvas pricing, and you can go down there that path to have a look. It's um I'm not sure like how much free tier usage potentially we can like we may support our customer or so, but I would like to reckon that if your business user are interesting to leverage ML, let us know and engage us. Like reach out to accounting, AWS accounting. We're more than happy to like do the enablement to support your peers to adopt the
Yep.
service. Yep,
Awesome. Very good.
yep. So let's do a few minutes about my always favorite topic, generative AI. Yeah, hope the audience wouldn't get tired of that. Like, yeah. Okay. Like all right. So what I want to walk through here, I want to show the benefit of you leverage generative AI building feature in SageMaker Canvas. Um, so basically with Canvas, we have the ready to use models to support our business user. Like imagine if your business kind of fascinated by generative AI, they really want to build up the knowledge base and using generative AI to do more intelligent chatbot search, and you can say that like you need a team to like work together to pick, to pull the puzzle together and build the workload for you. That's doable, and it certainly deliver great result for business very often. And with Canvas, what we what we help you here is that you don't need to have a whole fleet of team like orchestrate together and building a Gen AI app for your business. You can actually like start much easier, and we do help the like with the ready to use models. We support large language model, those foundation models. We also support some of the existing AI services, those like pre-trained models such as the services comprehend, text chat, and like recognitions for you to tackling those like natural language problem or like image problem. And for this part, especially, I want to call out that for the generative AI one. So what you can do here is basically, like I mentioned that we make your life easier in what extent. Like basically, I see that like just my user experience and when I'm working with my customer, I see some of the use case potentially can be fascinating for your business to do POC or for business. Like the first one is the so-called intelligent search with empowered by Gen AI. In this use case, what we can do is like when you set up your canvas, you can specify that a integration with Amazon Canvas, and with that setup, then your whatever documentation being ingest in your Amazon Canvas services can be leveraged as a knowledge base. Knowledge base means that, hey, LLM don't have your knowledge; they have recency cutoff, and you can easily just like a pulling, ingesting your data into Amazon Canvas and integrate with your SageMaker Canvas, and then like you can at the time then you can turn it on, and when you do query, the question you're asking can kind of looping to the Amazon Canvas indexing and then find the relevant information, and then it will use those one to do a technology so-called retrieval augmented uh, generations with LLM. So that's the beauty of implement a so-called red solution easily and test against on that. Yeah, this is one of the fascinating feature I can see here. And the second one, yeah, no question, no problem.
I was only going to just jump in there, Tom, and just say that one of the key call outs is that that data set is private and it stays with the customer. So
Yeah,
when you bring it with SageMaker, you get to bring in safely and securely your own
yeah,
data sets from your own internal
yeah,
tooling
indeed,
or systems or documentation.
indeed. You're right. And the other point I want to share is about that. Like nowadays, like SageMaker Canvas have integrations with Bedrock and also SageMaker Jumpstart, the foundation model services, and to provide easy access. For example, like say basically, one thing I want to call out would be to access backdrop foundation models that requires that the backdrop service availability on the related regions. Now, for my use case, my demo today, I'm using on US East one, which I have full fleet of the backdrop and SageMaker canvas. Now, in this use case, for example, I can choose what foundation model I want to uh, ask or prompt. And in this scenario, I also can go for like, okay, um, what kind of like a SageMaker Jumpstart model I'm interested in. If I for example, if I select them, then SageMaker Canvas Jumpstart will deploy them, and so they get them available so that I can use them. And with this one also fine tune. Fine tune, I will push it a bit later. And in this use case, in the second point on accessing LMs, I want to share a interesting feature, which is that you can compare the two. Compare in a sense that very often what we are doing is that, like for example, you enjoy using open source, and you also are interested in to see what are the like closed source LM or proprietary LM, how they behave on your prompt. Then what you can do here is that you can select either of them, and then like via UI nicely interface, and you can put in your prompt, and then like I see how they respond. And at here, like those prompts like basically can be very specific for the business problem you want to tackle. Or of course you can ask like knowledge, like those like zero shot, which is like knowledge factual based or knowledge questions to them and see how they respond. Of course I don't do a comparison here as just do comparison, but I want to share that you can check the how the prompt act on multiple I mean on two LLMs, and make a decision that hey, maybe I like you can easily test against that, like for experiment, and then you can use that prompt template for your formal projects. That potentially make your life much easier. That's what I
That's
see.
pretty cool. Yeah, so you can just basically run not quite A/B testing, but the equivalent of running multiple different tests against the same data set on those
Yeah,
LLMs.
yeah,
Yeah, nice
indeed.
one.
Yeah, indeed. And the last bit, I want to call out, which is like SageMaker Canvas really made our customers' life easier, which is the service so called. Bear with me. It should be this one. It's we make our LLM fine tuning easier with SageMaker Canvas here. Now, basically, if you want to create new model, like you can see that there are problem type as an option here, and some of the use case when people tackling like an intelligent chatbots or Q&A problem or so, or they need particular you know fine tune some LMs on their data set, then they potentially like want to make it easy to be done. And easy in a sense that basically if you do fine tuning nowadays, there are so many different kind of cutting edges services or method approaches for you to do and do it in a nice manner. But fine-tuning foundation model with SageMaker Canvas is offering is pretty much backed by backdrop custom model. So when we try to build, like when we build models here, well, like a fine-tune model here, is by backed by our managed services, and we have a team, like we have a service team work for you to make sure that like we based on your data and fine tune a particular base model and to see how it may fit on your use case. For time being, like I don't have several hours to show that use. I mean, fine tuning use case. Then in my existing setup, I have one pretty much is backed by a open source data set named Dolly. It's pretty much like there are some question there. There can be factual and can be interesting questions, and there will be answer to those to the questions. And they those part is like a input and output, the questions and the answer. Question as input and answer is output, and then from there, like we can train and we can fine tune the model. And with the fine tune, here I would just show you the result. Like we have the visualization to help a customer to understand how the fine tune process, like a training loss and if validation loss look like. Loss, like there was explanation here. Pretty much is kind of loss functions output. But basically, the idea is that to understand the training of validation process, how the trained model performed on the data set. Yeah, that's it. And of course, the smaller, the better. And sometimes we will observe the training loss and validation loss to tackle machine learning problems such as underfitting, overfitting. Bear with me, like those two concepts are a bit too much on today's section. I will park it, but basically it can help us to evaluate the trained model and then making decision how we tune a bit and do another fine tune and see how the result perform also. Yeah. So this part is pretty like easy to do, and it has a UI to provide guidance on the training. I see that it's pretty much very, very powerful and interesting for customer to
Yeah.
trial.
As awesome as that is, we might need to save that for a level 300
Yeah.
training workshop. But that's a really good
Yeah.
insight.
No
Tom?
problem. Cool. Yeah, that's
Cool.
all. That's all of the interesting feature services I want to talk about today. Yeah.
Awesome. And again, we've just got to highlight what you said before, right? This is all low code, no code. So
Yeah.
if you have some time, get in there and have a play with SageMaker Canvas, because there's a lot of interesting stuff we can do.
Yeah.
Very good. I think that wraps it up for this month, Tom.
Yeah. Pretty much. Thanks for everyone.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good end of this month. I will talk to you soon. And
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone for joining us. We'll see you next month.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
See yous.